Hello friends, good morning. We'll continue with our poem Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard by Thomas Gray. In the earlier lecture, we had completed till stanza 16. We'll move forward with stanza 17, where the poet is talking about the villagers who have died unknown, undecorated. So, their lot forbade, nor circumscribed alone, their growing virtues, but their crimes confined, forbade to wade through slaughter to a throne, and shut the gates of mercy on mankind. So, these the meaning or the what the poet wants to say can be understood by reading both the stanzas together, that is 17 and 18. So we see that the poet wants to say that the poverty of the villagers had prevented, circumscribed means it has prevented them from developing the virtues that would get them remembered in the history books. Their growing virtues, but their crimes confined, forbade to wade through slaughter to a throne, and shut the gates of mercy on mankind. So the poet wants to say that the reason behind why these villagers remained undecorated, unknown, was that their poverty prevented them from developing the virtues that would have given them a sense or a place in history that people would have remembered them. And it has the positive side of this is that it has also kept them from committing crimes. Now the poet gives some examples of the crimes that these poor villagers didn't do or just don't have time to commit, since they were busy working to put their lives together. They don't have the time to to wade through the blood of and kill someone to reach a throne or take a throne or to usurp a throne or to act all merciless to the people. Another metaphor we can see here, gates of mercy, is a metaphor for being merciless. Now the second stanza, the struggling pangs of conscious truth to hide, to quench the blushes of ingenious shame, or heap the shrine of luxury and pride with incense kindled at the muse's flame. Excuse me. So the villagers' lot in life keeps them from trying to hide the truth, especially when the truth is struggling and a conscious sort of being the truth. Their situation is like such that it keeps them from trying to hide their blushes. Blushes, a signal of being ashamed of. So because of their poverty or their involved in daily routine, they have been away from crimes of humanity, and they don't have to blush or feel ashamed of something because they haven't done anything wrong with the mankind. So if you try to hide your feelings, it shows a blush on your face because you are guilty, you are trying to hide your true feelings. So this ingenious means innocent. So they were innocent and they didn't commit any crime, and because of that, a positive aspect of their life is that they are not guilty, they are not ashamed of doing anything wrong. And there's another metaphor here, when quenching flame. Quenching is the metaphorical flame that's getting quenched, means your sense of pride that is quenched by doing such crimes. The poor villagers also don't have the chance to use fancy and flattery words to build a metaphorical shrine to the personified luxury and pride, their self luxury for their self. So they are away from this crime. And the muses were the goddesses in the Greek and Roman mythology who were responsible for inspiring artists, musicians, and poets. So the incense that was lit at the muses' flame must have been a pen that is metaphorically kindled or rejuvenated, lit up, or inspired by the muses. So the poet here says that though they have remained unsung or unknown, but the positive side of this is that they have not been guilty of committing any crime to satisfy their own ego, their pride, and they have not committed any crime against humanity. Far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife, their sober wishes never learned to stray. Along the cool sequestered vale of life, they kept the noiseless tenor of their way. So, since the poor villagers who are buried in the churchyard where the poet is standing had lived far away from the noise and strife and struggle of the crowded cities, they never learned to stray away from the more sober, serious wishes and desires. They have simple desires because they lived in a very sequestered means secluded area. They were able to live their lives without making any noise, because it was a serene place. So the poet wants to say that because they had lived in such a serene place, they didn't contribute to the noise of the cities. Yet even these bones from insult to protect, some frail memorial still erected high, with uncouth rhymes and shapeless sculpture decked, implores the passing tribute of a sigh. Now he says that though their graves don't have fancy trophies or memorials on their graves, but they still at least have some frail, dilapidated, flimsy memorials nearby, only to protect their remains from the insult of having people having picnic or playing over there. They just have made a sort of grave, a simple grave which protects their remains from the insults. So these flimsy or dilapidated frail memorials aren't made of fancy marble. They are just rough, shapeless sculptures, and they are decorated with crude and very uncouth poetry, which is sort of unlearned person. But even though the memorials aren't all fancy, they still inspire a passerby to pause and stay there long enough to sigh and think about their lives, what sort of life they must have had when they were there. Though their memorials are very simple and very rustic, but still the passers-by have to notice them and think about them, that what sort of person might be lying here, what life he must have had during his lifetime. Thank you. We'll continue with our next stanzas in our next lecture.